I wish you could set that stuff so that as people enter, the default will be mute. It's going to help us a great deal. Okay, so welcome once more. Some people are still joining, which is a good thing. So uh, it will be beneficial as I'm still going to touch on most of the things that you have said and add more light to them. All right, so I'm Jimo Brimo, and I'm a PhD. I'm a fourth year PhD at the University of Mississippi. I'm also an international student ambassador for my university at Unibody. As we go on, I'm still going to say more about Unibody, which is a resource that a lot of us will need. I'm also an ambassador for the Linguistic Society of America. And the first question that will come to mind is why are we doing this? And I would like to say, tell my story. I started the journey to study abroad since 1998. I started with the Scandinavia countries because I was opportune to have the information that tuition is free, but I still didn't have the resources to apply and all that. The best I could do was to apply uh, for their brochure and go through it. After that, I tried UK. I remember sleeping in the embassy for 4 days and I was still rejected. And then I started trying France. Before I tried Canada, I got admitted in Canada, but the embassy rejected me because I didn't have any form of scholarship, and I went there with somebody's statement of account. They wanted it in my own account. So before coming here to the US, now I'm in my fourth year of my PhD study. So uh, we are not doing this for money, like my colleague have said already. It is free because most people who really have the desire to do these things cannot really afford money. I know of other group, just to be a member of the group, you have to pay 50,000 naira. For me, that's just a little bit too much. Okay, so that is that about that. So we'll move on now to what I call the university and college system in the United States. All right. So we have different categories of universities and colleges. You have private, they also call it state universities. Now, the major thing about these universities is that they receive a lot of money from the government. But private universities, they have their own funds. So you have different types, the profit for profit and not for profit. And then you have colleges, community colleges, you have liberal arts colleges, and then you also have black heritage colleges. So why do we need to know about these universities? You don't want to apply to community college, okay? The standard will be too low for you. You might have problem with immigrations and all that, and you might not get funding because they don't receive a lot of money. Liberal arts, if you are going for undergraduate, you could go for colleges of liberal arts, but you know it is not as rated as the public universities and the private universities. And then we also have universities that have low acceptance rate. So you don't want to apply to a university that have like 5% acceptance because the reason why they reject has nothing to do with whether you are good enough or anything. They just have their own criteria that can cut you off. So you don't want to waste money applying. Then these black heritage colleges are also public universities, but they are specially designed for black people. So those kind of schools admissions are very friendly, and those are also schools you will want to consider. All right. So still, my colleague have thrown some light on this scholarship and assistantship. You know, what's the difference? We put scholarship in our advert because that's what people know. People don't know what assistantship is. Okay, but there's a difference. We are not applying for scholarship. We are not teaching you how to apply for scholarship, but what you will get is what we call assistantship. Okay, so one major difference is you don't apply for assistantship separately. Okay, it comes along with the program. So that's how the university and college system in this country works. All right. So you can be a teaching assistant. So this is how it works. When your department gives you admission, because the department that gives you admission, they give you assistantship. So when they give you assistantship, the graduate school will waive your school fees. So you don't have to pay school fees. Then the stipends they'll be paying you for your assistantship, you cannot use that to take care of your daily expenses, your rent, and every other upkeep that you need to do. So when the department gives you admission, they can make you a teaching assistant, meaning you will be teaching along with a professor. Okay, so different departments do it differently. Some departments you will teach, you will record, you will mark, you know. Some other departments you only grade, like engineering, you only grade, you don't go to class and all that. So in some departments, they'll give you research assistants, so you will be with a professor. The professor, when he wants to do photocopy or anything that he wants you to do, he will give you the assignment to do. And then you can be also office assistant, meaning you sit down with the secretary in the office. When the secretary is going for lunch, you will be there in case people come, and just like that. Okay, which is that's the way it works in this in America. All right, but in the US, in Canada, it used to work that way, but since 2015, there have been some restriction. You know, they prefer to give their citizens scholarship. So if if you apply to a school in Canada, they usually want you to, apply separately for the scholarship. So because of these restrictions, uh, it's possible to see a school that will give you admission in Canada and give you assistantship, but their restriction and it's quite limited. Okay, so do they have scholarship in Canada? Yes, they have scholarship, but the problem is that when you say scholarship means you have to apply for it, and when you are applying, other people are also applying, so there is this competition. Okay, it's not just a free thing like when you just get your admission, you have it. So when I applied to Canada and got admission, I tried applying for those scholarship, and they are looking for three things. They are looking for your uh, research experience, your academic experience, and then your teaching experience. These three areas. And most of us in Africa, our system is not designed, our school system is not designed to take care of these areas. We only focus on academic experience. That's what we have. Even as a lecturer, most times you don't get until you become like an assistant lecturer, you don't have a good research experience. So when you are competing with their own people who have these three areas, it becomes very difficult for you to get this their scholarship. So my advice is if you want to apply to Canada, if you want to depend on scholarship or assistantship, it might not be easy. You might be doing yourself more harm than good. So if you really want to apply to Canada, make sure you have the money you need to survive for 1 year. So when you are there, your supervisor can, help you get some assistantship. When you are already there, you could start working, for yourself and things like that. All right. So like I said, it's possible, but not because of the restrictions. It's not that easy. All right. So you want to ask yourself the question: why assistantship to international students? Okay. So this system is a system that think about others. They don't think about themselves alone. They know that there are people who have money to pay and get this education. They know there are people who are less fortunate, people who don't have the money, and also when it's like you are working for the department, so that when you graduate they ask you, do you have working experience, like they do in most countries. So by working for the department you have experience. So if you school there for 2 years and you're a assistant, you have 2 years of working experience. If it is 5 years, because their PhD is usually 5 years, you have a 5 years working experience. So when you go to the labor market, you already have experience. That's another reason why they do it. Another reason is rating. Here they rate departments based on, how diverse the department is. So the more you have international students in your department, the more you'll be rated as a good department, or even school as a whole. So they put funds aside to be able to sponsor international students, because they know a lot of us, due to the exchange rate, unless your father is a politician or a mega businessman, you will not be able to afford it. And it is working for them, because when you come to this country, go to physics department. I think in my school, only one American have graduated from the physics department. You know, if you go to the pharmacy and engineering, you have Indians, Nigerians in those places. All right. So now we talk about the undergraduate scholarship. So the undergraduate is scholarship. It is not assistantship. So that's the difference. So it is not. It doesn't work the way the assistantship work. All right. So you apply for it after getting admission. You apply for it, and their funding is between like 20% or 15% to 50%. I think the highest I've seen is 50%. So if you have a 50% scholarship, you still have to pay like 10 to 15 million naira every semester, not every year, every semester, to enjoy this scholarship. Okay, so I don't know for those who are from different countries like Kenya or Ghana. You can make the exchange online and see how much you will still need to pay. So yeah, like I said, undergraduate scholarship operates differently. However, the undergraduate system have the what they call the merit-based scholarship. Okay, merit-based scholarship, and this is based on your performance in your exams. So you have to have what we call perfect score. So in your SAT, if you know what SAT is like, we write JAMB to get admission into Nigeria. I don't know what they write in Ghana or other countries, but to get admission to do your undergraduate, you write the SAT exam. So a perfect score is like 95 and above, you know. So then in your O level, you need to make like 7 A's and above, with your all those kind of things. Then you will be considered by the school for a merit-based scholarship. Now, the merit-based scholarship in the whole school might be 2 or 3. Okay, in a department it might be 2 or 3. So if you are a Nigerian or a Ghanaian or a Kenyan and you write that exam and you score, let's say 72 or 75, 92 or 95, and then you have 2 or 3 other Americans who score the same thing and they are applying to that same school and they have only 2 slots, okay, you'll be rest assured that they will consider their own indigent, their own citizens before they consider you. All right, so it is possible to get it, but not that easy because of these reasons. Okay, it's not everywhere. It is not so many. They have it for a limited number of this merit-based scholarship. So it's competitive, and then that is the other reason why I showed you those schools, because there are some kind of schools you also apply to. It will become a problem because more people are applying to those schools, so you have more competition. So yeah, for undergraduates and for Canada, those restrictions exist, but in the US, when it comes to your masters and your PhD, most times student department don't give you admission unless they can take care of you. Okay, so this when we send you links and you are looking through, you shouldn't be looking for scholarship. What you should be looking for is financial aid. So under financial aid, you have a lot of different kind of financial aid. The one you as an international student qualifies for is the teaching assistant or the assistantship. So when you see scholarship will not be for you. It will be for their children. If you see fellowship, see a lot of other stuff, it's usually for their people. If you see merit-based or the name of somebody, let's say Obama Ford Opportunity, one thing, or any kind of title, it's usually for their citizens. Where we international students, like I said before, it's a system that thinks. So they have different financial aid for different kind of people. So the one that we fall into that we are qualified for is usually that assistantship. So once you go to financial aid in the school that you want to apply to, what you should be looking out for is for assistantship. Okay. All right. So like I said before, it's very competitive. Okay. So that having been said, we now look at the requirements which justice have adequately talked about. You need your transcript, you need your statement of result, yeah, your statement of purpose. And what's statement of purpose? Statement of purpose simply means why are you coming here? Some people call it statement of intent or letter of intent. So it is the place where you have the opportunity to brag about yourself. Okay. The things you have, most things you have said in your CV, it's time to put them in words in this place. Okay. So you want to tell them how you volunteer to teach 100 level while you were in final year. You want to tell them how you were the president of your department and yet graduated. You know, normally people say in Nigeria that a first class in Nigeria is a 2-1 here or is a third class here. All those things are nonsense. This is where you want to tell them how you worked hard to get your grade, whether it is first class, whether it is 2-1. You know, this is where you want to boast about yourself. You don't want to be humble in this letter. Then you have writing sample. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about again. In Nigeria, we only have like assignments, group assignment, and things like that. But in the American system, you have final papers. By the time you become an undergraduate and you keep going on, you know, every semester, the class you are taking, they will ask you to write a final paper. All right. So academic writing simply means your the work that you are proud of, one of the academic work you are proud of. And most of us in Africa, what we have is just our what do you call it, our project work, our final year project work, you know, that we did. But right here, apart from your final year project work, you have papers, 10 papers that you always write. So the one you think that really represents you, where you really did research to show that you have the capacity to come and do research, that's what this writing sample is about. So while submitting the writing sample, the departments will tell you some will ask for 4 pages, some will ask for 12 pages, you know, based on what, if they specify. If they don't specify, you can write as long as you like, but it must contain an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Then you pay the application fee. Without the application fee, you can't go on. You also need your test score. Okay, so some schools, it depends on the school. This is the reason why you need to read these schools. Some will ask for GRE, some will ask for GMAT, some will say no, only GRE, some will say either or, some just like that, depending on the school and the department. Then in America, we use they accept to fail, generally speaking, to fail. Please mute your mic. You are obstructing. Thank you. So some schools also accept both. You know, sometimes it's a department thing. Some departments will accept. There are departments that don't require test of English. There are schools that don't require it from Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, because our official language is English. But some schools and some departments, they will tell you whether you are in Nigeria or not, unless you have schooled in America, US, or Australia for up to, or UK for up to 2 years, you must provide it. So I generally advise people to make sure they do it to increase their chances. Then reference letter. The thing I want to say about reference letter is that a lot of people always want to depend on one big professor to write reference letter for them, which is very very not which is contrary. What you need is someone who have taught you and that has time for you, because I've seen a case where somebody was applying to Canada and wanted a big professor, and the professor got angry and never wrote it, and she lost that admission. I could remember vividly. She had to reapply again the next year after the time and money and the stress. So you don't want to meet a professor that has a big name but doesn't have your time. Some just have a template. They just write two paragraph and they send it. You want someone who wants to, pour out their mind for you, not someone who is not accessible. All right. So now we'll look at the application process. What does the application process uh, looks like? All right. So when you start applying, and the deadlines are very important. Okay. Because one thing you really need to know, uh, they don't bend their laws. They don't bend their laws. They don't say, okay, we like her face, therefore let's change our laws. If they tell you application starts 1st of May and ends April 10, that's what they will follow strictly. Okay. So You want to be conscious about when you start and when you are going to end. So generally speaking, in a general sense, application opens in October and end December or early January. Some schools will start November. The application window is actually like 3 months. Okay, so some people, if they start November, know that they will end around end January or early February. Okay, some will start December, middle December, end March, middle March. Okay, some January, but generally speaking, it's usually between October and January, October to January. Some schools will tell you on a rolling basis. As far as they still have space, they keep accepting application. And then when they accept your application, if the slot for that year is already full, they will consider you for the next year. So different departments, different schools with their different policy. But generally speaking, by October, you want to start putting in your application, and you want to make sure you beat the deadline. And that's where applying to your school for transcript becomes a very pertinent issue. Then, when you are accepted, some schools will tell you you must send your official transcript even before you start your application. Some will say, no, bring your non-official transcript, upload it. We will consider you. After we consider you and give you admission, you send your official transcript. Okay, so those are two possibilities depending on the school and the department you're applying to. Then, after giving you your funding, assistantship, on paper, maybe your department gave you $15,000 a year, but on paper they will say you need 16,200 to survive. So they will tell you, show us an evidence that you can take care of the remaining 1,002 that is on top. All right. Now, the good thing about the US here is that the money doesn't need to be in your account as it is with Canada and some other countries. So anybody, your church member can give you their statement, your brother, your friend, anybody can give you, and then you email it to them. Then you satisfy this requirement. All right. So for those who have been sending message asking if you can come with your family, this is the answer to your question. So after they have given you the teaching assistant or the assistantship, if you are coming with your family, you need to send a statement of account, okay, that is equal to 7,000 for your spouse. So if you are a male, your wife, you need to show 7,000 for her. If you are a female, your husband, you need to show $7,000 in an account. If you are coming with a child, 5,000 per child. Okay. If you are coming with two children, 10,000 for the two children. If it is three, 15,000 for the three children. So you will send a statement of account from anybody who is willing to give to you, that it's like the person is vouching for you. There is really no commitment to prove that you're going to spend it. And then attach it to to the assistantship that you get, and then you will cross this process and this requirement. So then the next thing is that you're going to pay for the shipping, posting of your admission letter, your I-20. This I-20 is going to state, this your proof of funding. It's going to state how much your department is giving to you, how much the graduate school is removing from your school fees, then how much is in your family members' account for your children. This I-20 will contain all those information, and every other immigration document you need will be posted to you. Now, if you don't want to pay for the posting, they will post it to you with their regular mail here. But the thing is, their regular mail, when they get to Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or whichever country you are from, they will hand over it to your local postal system. So if you trust your local postal system to bring it on time, because if they delay, it's going to affect your visa application. But if you trust your local if you trust your local applicators, your local postal service, then you don't need to pay for it. But if you want it to come, because I know of somebody who didn't pay and they sent it to him, and the thing got missing on the way. So he had to use DHL the next time to resend it, which is dangerous, because immigration document is not something you want to miss. Then you pay your service fee. Service fee is the amount you pay, that gives you the leverage to now proceed to your embassy, to apply to your embassy of your country. So this service fee, you can't pay it yourself. Somebody in the US have to pay it for you. And then after that, you now apply to the embassy after paying your service fee. So to apply to your embassy, you have to fill the DS form online in your embassy, in the embassy website. Then with that, you will now book for an appointment, because your appointment have to carry your DS number. Okay, so you first of all fill your DS form and then apply to the embassy, and then they will give you a date for your interview. So then you appear for your interview, and then when you are given your visa, you go buy your ticket and move down. And then you arrive, we'll come and pick you in the airport when you arrive. So what is your financial responsibility through the process? That's what we're going to look at. First of all, your transcript. So you're going to go to your school will tell you how much for your transcript, how much to do it, how much to post it and everything. So that cannot be certain about it. I think in Uniben it's about 50,000 now. I don't know, but I know the thing keeps changing almost every week. Then for TOEFL, the TOEFL exam on their website, is $180. The GRO is 226. However, you might likely enroll with an agent. So the agent in your country might add something to it, depending on which country that you are. Then the application form for schools is usually between $50 and $100. Okay. I've seen some schools that take less as $30-$35. So, but generally speaking, it's usually between 50 and 100. Most of the public schools that I showed you usually take $50. Then those private schools most times take 100, and vice versa, depending. Okay, so to post your admission letter and your immigration document, DHL takes 95 the last time I checked, and UPS takes 75. So you choose between these two to send. Then your service fee before you go to the embassy is $350. And then I think visa, I took pain to check visa. I think this one is for Nigeria. I think it differs from country to country. It is about $160 now for student visa. And then your tickets after having the visa. I think Turkish airline right now is 842. So these are not fixed, okay, because sometimes it depends on how soon. If you are traveling 3 months from now, you book, you will get it cheaper. If you are traveling 2 weeks time, yeah, you get it more expensive. But generally speaking, these are the things you will spend money on in the process of the application till you finally, arrive here at the US. So the good thing is that this money, you don't need to spend it at once. It is at different stages that you need them. That's the good thing about it. It's not something you do at once. Okay, so how do we come in? How can we help? Number one thing we can do is to help you with links of schools. All right. So you tell us, okay, I want to do mechanical engineering. We look for schools that are not schools that will not give you, what do you call it now? That will not tell you that they have only 5% acceptance, 95% rejection. Links that we know that when you apply, they are admission friendly. Okay. Also, interview tips. Okay, I have a what do you call it now? A blog where I put questions. Why they are asking you that questions, the best way to approach the questions, and all that. So when you get to that stage, links like that, we can also help you with them to prepare you for your interview. Okay, so information like academic fairs. Last year there was an academic fair in Ibadan. And one of my students in Nigeria went there and saw a professor who was in my school, and they chatted. He got the links that he needed and all that. So these academic fairs happen around, just maybe because of the COVID this time, they did it online like this. and I attended. So information like that, where you can meet people one-on-one and talk, we will be able to help you with such information. Okay, letter sample. How do I write my statement of purpose? We can help you with samples too that will help you know what you need to do. Okay, we can also help you with resources like Unibody. So this Unibody is an app. It's also a website. You can sign in. When you sign in and create your account, you see different schools, even schools that I don't know of, because there are a lot of schools in this country, and they are international student ambassador. And you can ask them any question you want to ask them concerning the school, okay, concerning the department you are interested in. If they don't know the answer, they will forward your question to the person in charge that can answer it. And uh, it's like a chatting app. You can be chatting with them, getting all the answers you need concerning as many schools as possible in the US. Okay, so it's an app and a website. I will encourage everybody here to get as soon as now. Okay, so there are also different websites where you can get information concerning schools, departments, programs. Okay, and the list is endless. These are all things we can help you with. We are not going to go to the embassy and take the visa and give to you. Here you don't do, okay, I know the admission officer. It doesn't work that way here. Nobody will answer you. So you just have to meet the standard. Once you meet the standard, they give you what you want. All right. So uh, if you have questions, this is the time for you to ask your questions. If we have anyone, let's see the chat. If there are any questions in the chat, or if you want to ask your question verbally, anything you are not clear about.
Yeah, I think you guys stop sharing your screen now.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I think that was detailed, more detailed. Yeah. So in terms of questions, you can actually still mute yourself and ask questions if you don't want to type. If you don't want to type on the chat,
Yeah.
chat room, you just ask your question. Please go ahead. But forgive me, you don't like that that's a question now.
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead. It's all right. I really want to appreciate you for the seminar or the teachings. It's quite very, very rich. I don't know if you can be able to help us tell a little bit on the first one that you talked about, because we actually came in very late, so we're not able to follow the abilities in assistantship.
Okay. Is that all? You have other questions? All right. So this assistantship, you don't apply for assistantship separately. So when you apply to your department, okay, your department, before they give you admission, they will be sure that they can take care of you with that assistantship. So the assistantship simply means you can be a teaching assistant. So you'll be teaching with a professor. So in some department, you will teach, they will give you the syllabus and then you go to the class, teach it. They will set the exam, but you will administer the exam, mark the script and record. In some department, you just be grading. They do everything, but they just give you the exam script and you go and mark it. So that's it. Then some, you will just be a research assistant with a professor. So when the professor is in the lab, you will be there. If he wants one tube, he will ask you to bring it. If he wants one thing, he will send you to do it. If he wants to make photocopy, he will send you whatever he sends you. So you can also be an administrative staff. So administrative staff, you sit with the secretary. When the secretary is going for lunch or errands, you will be in the office to attend to people, to receive the phone calls or any other thing that is going to happen in the office. So that's how assistantship work. It's like you are working for the department and the department is paying you. And because the department has given you that assistantship, the graduate school will now waive your school fees. So you don't need to pay your school fees. Then the stipends you will be paid every 2 weeks or every month, depending on the state. You will now use that to take care of your upkeep, your rent, your feeding, your books, every other thing. So that's how assistantship work.
Okay. Thank you. There's a question here. Joe, you want to ask a question? Yes, that's a question. Concerning the tuition exam something the general A and the juniors. What do you think one can do in getting this straight when we took the exam and everything? Now, because of the lockdown and the restrictions with the COVID now, how can one actually
Yes,
do the exam?
yes, that's a very good question. Thank you for raising that question up, because right now most schools are waiving it because they know because of the pandemic you can't write it. So if there is any time to apply to schools in the US now, it is now. A lot of schools, a lot of departments are waiving it. You just send your transcript, that's all, and they give you admission. So admission has become easier right now as we are talking because of this pandemic. But a lot of people don't know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, John. Any other, I think there's a question on the chat. Somebody's asking, how can I come with my spouse? I think we already answered that question. How do you come with your spouse? It's actually possible for you to come with your spouse, right? If you are giving admission, you can come with your spouse, but you have to make sure you pay for the admission, sorry, for the application fee for your wife to get the visa. And that should be like, what do you call it? Dependent visa, I think. Yeah, dependent
Yeah,
visa.
F2. Yeah,
So
dependent.
F2. Yeah, F2. You are coming with F1 and
Now,
then your wife is coming with F2. Go ahead.
now, now, this presentation will be available on our YouTube. So in case you miss anything, you can go to the YouTube and watch the whole video. We'll also put sections on the Facebook the Facebook page, not my main account, but in the Facebook page, the Perfect Scholar. So most of these things we'll put them in section there. So what you want to know, obviously you came late. The first thing is, after you have been given your stipends, you have been given your assistantship. Okay, they will give you a letter to that effect. Then you now have to provide a statement of account. If you are coming with a spouse, that's $7,000 you will show, and the money does not need to be in your account. Anybody can give you their statement of account that is up to $7,000 to show. Okay. Then if you are coming with a child, it's $5,000. So if you are coming with both, it will now be $13,000. You will have to show that someone is who has it in their account is vouching for you. So once you show that, they will put it in your I-20, which you will take to the embassy. So when you get to the embassy, you also have to pay the visa fee of your spouse or your child, and then you'll be able to bring them down. That's what you need to do to come with your family. Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the presentation. So I wanted to ask, if then when you're applying with your spouse and your children, is it actually advisable to apply when you're just getting the admission, or you go there and it can come to join you after you like settle down and all that? What do you guys think?
Okay. The,
Okay, go ahead.
there are different ways you can do it, depend on you and your resources. You can, as you are applying, you apply along with your family at once. As a matter of fact, I think the embassy prefer that one. Okay. Or they say they prefer that one. That's one way to go about it. So you go there with your family and apply at once. Another way you can do it is you go, maybe you are resuming in a month or two time. So you go there on your own and apply. When you get the visa, you will now go and apply for your family. Then book an appointment while you are even still in Nigeria, and then your family will go. And then when they give them, you move together. But for, like, I know somebody who has a wife and four children, so he didn't have the money. Didn't have that's how many. Four children times 5,000, that's 20,000 plus that's 27,000 in his account, and he doesn't have the money for the ticket for six people. So what he did was to apply for himself first and come down. He was here, then save money for like a year, and then apply for the family. Okay. However, it is still dangerous to do that, because if you meet a very stubborn immigration officer, they will say, okay, why didn't you take them the first time where you were going? Okay, there was one, that one did masters. He now applied for the wife when he was already in his second year, and they rejected her more than three times because they were like, your program is almost over. So what do you need your wife there for? If you have stayed there for 1.5 years, why are you not calling her now that you're almost done? So they rejected him almost 3 times, So those are the possibilities. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. We have a question from IODG. IODG has been with the stipend in law to take care of the spouse and then the house, take care of the school. Yeah, your stipend should be enough. It still depends on the school you're applying to. Stipend different. If you're applying to some schools have more stipend, some schools have, lower stipend, but that should be enough to take care of the rent. You need to need that. Of course, also take care of the spouse. You know,
Yeah, so you have to be careful because some schools might promise you more stipends. A school might tell you 20,000, another school will tell a year, another one will tell you 15,000 a year. But the trick is this: America is truly a democratic society. So some society you don't spend the same way. So if you are in New York, you are receiving 20,000, and then you are in one town in Florida, you are receiving 10,000. You'll be surprised that cost of living in New York, that money that you are receiving is nothing. But in the town in Florida where you're receiving 10,000, you will be saving even half of your income. So that's the trick about that, the issue of stipend. So is the stipend enough? I will tell you yes, it is enough because you know when you are here, there are so many opportunities for you to survive. Okay, there are low income houses that you can rent. We have food pantries. Food pantries, you have state food pantry, national, even in your school. I'm a volunteer in my own school food pantry. So as I'm here, if I need food, I just apply. And then by 3 o'clock, they will send me a text message to come and pack all the food I'm looking for. So yes, it is very enough as far as you live according to your pocket. Okay. There are cars of 30,000, for example, but you will still see a car of 1,000 in this place, and they will both carry you, take you to where you are going. So if you live according to your income and go to buy things where you're supposed to buy things, it will be very enough for you and your family.
there's a question, yeah, we have lots of questions. I don't think we can attend to all the questions, but if you have questions that are asked to what we have presented before, I will advise you go watch the videos
Yeah.
on our social media handles. But the question here is somebody is asking if can the stipend, okay, I don't answer that. How can we get the links? Okay, so we have a WhatsApp group, right? Right now the WhatsApp group is right? So you have our social media handles. You can look on the social on the WhatsApp group, send it on the WhatsApp group. But if you're not there, you can always write to us on the social media handles, and we can always send links to you.
Yes,
And
sorry, let me add to that because in the WhatsApp group is already full, so everybody can access that right now on the one hand. On the other hand, if we open that group, people start posting things they ought not to post. So if you want a link, just go to our social media handle, send your question there, we'll send you the link there. You can ask us questions. We'll tell you what to do. Okay, if it's the question that we need to direct you to who to send an email, we will tell you, okay, in that website, this person, your coordinator, email that your coordinator and ask this question. And they have a policy here. If you send an email within 12 hours during the week and 24 hours during the weekend, they should respond to you. So it is better to go on the social media handle than to depend on the WhatsApp because if 200 people are to look to send a message, at the same time you will get yeah.
another question, can we use our final year project work in our example for graduate students?
Yes.
I don't want you to respond to this one. Spend, we don't spend so much time. You can use your final year project. If you want your final year project in French and you're applying for a French program here, you can use that. And sometimes they also need you to write example in English language. So if you have something written in English language, that can also go. Okay, I want to move on to the next question. I am an undergraduate. I am seeing some scholarship online. Where one of the requirements a 200 or 300 level student, how they did this.
Okay, there are a lot of stuff online, and I don't know the veracity of that line. But the issue with scholarship, what I tell people, when they receive scholarship online, you are not the only one applying. People are applying from China, people are applying from all over the place. So it is usually too competitive to be, even if it is legit, to be accessible. Because like I told you, if you are from the North America, they are looking for your research experience, teaching experience, and your academic experience. Most of us from Africa will only have academic experience, no research experience. And that is what happened to me when I couldn't get my scholarship to study in Canada.
Thank you. I would like to ask if we have a list of schools that have high acceptance. Um, I'd like to ask if there are any schools that have high acceptance ability rate for black students. Um, okay, so
Yeah, so the black black Blackworth universities, and then the public universities too. Yeah, then some of the private universities too. They also have high rates, but the highest rate for black, all of them, because they have quotas. Okay, they have quotas. You have quota for women, you have quotas for black, you have quotas for white. So they desire their department to have a mix of all this. Okay, so if it is based on black, yes, every school seem to have it. But if they need only two blacks and five black people apply, that is where you now start having the issue.
yeah, just for us to also know that schools here want to come, so that they want you to come with an advantage to them.
For their rating. Yeah.
So they're rated, international students. Please, I want to know if it is possible to get a job and stay in the US after studies. Thank you. So this is possible, right? It is possible, but then you don't have to start applying for job when you finish your program. Start applying for jobs
As a matter of fact, this seminar is not for that question actually. You have to get here first. When you get here and you are able to get used to the system, do the admission, then before you start talking about that. So yes, it is possible, but that's not what this seminar is about.
Absolutely. Get here first. Okay, so there's another question here. I would like to ask if, okay, answer this question. Okay, thank you guys. What is the uh, minimum number of years students that want to, what is the minimum number of, I guess the person is asking minimum number of years to apply to apply to Canada in the US. So you don't have any minimum number of years to apply to the US, and the US are doing very well. You just have to, as soon as you're ready to go to graduate school for your master, you just apply. You don't have to have years of staying.
As far as your transcript is out, they just want to see your transcript. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's not another question. My name is Nicholas. I'm a graduate finalist student. Can I start the process of seeking admission to the University of Penang?
No, because you
Definitely,
need your transcript.
I would advise you to finish the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need your transcript, you need your school certificate, you need a lot of information and you can only get onto your finished your program. So it's important to finish your studies first and then do your NYC and so. Okay. And you can actually start your application before the end of your NYC. So that as soon as you finish your NYC, you are here. Or you
Okay.
can also, it's possible to seek the NYC, I think.
Yeah. So Winifred is asking a question. Winifred, when you talk about switching, the issue is not with your switching. The issue is if the department decides to give you the admission, whether you are switching or not. If they decide to give you the admission, they might not give you teaching assistantship. They can give you uh, any other assistantship like office assistant. So that's what the issue is about getting the admission. Once you get the admission, They most times they will not give you the admission if they can't give you assistantship. So they don't have to give you teaching assistantship or anything. They can give you any other office assistantship or any other thing. So yes, it is possible.
Yeah. Okay, great. Also, is it possible to get a fully funded undergraduate scholarship? So,
We
undergraduate
talk
scholarship, it doesn't
we talked about that. Okay, the person should go online and watch the
go online and
yeah, go to
research
the
for it.
YouTube channel or the this thing and see.
Please, please. Okay, I think you already picked that up with do I need to do West? Or do I need to do application? Now, it depends. West, you don't do West like that. I don't think you have to do West for US. I think West is basically for Canada. Yeah. For US, you just apply that.
The only advantage of WES is that once your document is with WES, you don't need to go to your department because I suggest applying to at least 3 to 4 schools. Don't just apply to one school. That's my advice, to increase your chances. So if you're applying to 3 schools, maybe you applied this year, they didn't give you, you want to apply next year, you don't need to go back to your school. You just go to West and West will send your transcript to them. That's the major advantage of West. But whether it is a must, no, you don't need it.
Thank you. And number your question is how can I get the student to send me outside students? So this program is not for now. We probably will have a session
You have to
on
you have to study first before you talk of after study.
study first, study first, and make sure that finish your program or before your program, there are programs, there are opportunities. We have the
Let's
career department here. Always come and talk to you about getting jobs and getting your skills and all that. So this platform is not for that for now. This is just for you to get admission and something else. Next question is, can undergraduate get a full scholarship? Please, I've responded to this question. Yes, you can get a full scholarship, but go back to video to our social media page and watch that on YouTube. You might get a full scholarship or not, depending on the school you apply to. Next question is there anything one needs to do before you achieve become an international student? I mean, once you are applying to an international student, as long as you're not from the United States or
yeah,
you are international student,
yeah.
okay?
Once your admission is accepted, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, um, what are required grades?
This yes, I understand what the person is saying. Yeah. So
Okay.
now generally our standard is 5.0. Here it is 4.0,
Okay.
and the required grade is actually 3.0. However, on paper, that's what they say. Okay, so in other words, you need to have a 2-1. However, I've seen people who have less than that, yet they get the admission. So admission is not just only based on one thing. If a professor say this person have pass, and the professor say I'm still interested to work with the person, they will give you admission. Okay, if like for example, I know of somebody, my pastor's wife, who had HND, and she did a master's with HND. you know. So I know somebody doing his PhD. He was a lecturer at Uniben. His his cutoff was not up to the cutoff for PhD, but he was accepted in Florida and he's there with his family now doing his PhD. So on paper they tell you not more than 2-1, but if your work is interesting, you apply and the department see that they need you, they will still give you admission. So that's the thing about that grade. So that's where you don't want to apply to Ivy League schools. You want to apply
Yeah,
to
I
schools that are, you know, admission friendly.
within your okay, thank you. Somebody David is asking if they can eat CVs for masters. David, there is no limit to what
No,
masters is. As long as you have finished your
no.
undergraduate studies and you are good to go, you can apply.
I,
So
I,
we have
I had a classmate who was a retired old soldier. Okay, a retired old soldier, but he knows how to speak Spanish. He came to do a master's in teaching of Spanish and went to Spain to start teaching English. Okay, a retired old soldier, so you can guess his age. Go ahead.
please the mail to be sent to the school. What should it entail? Now, every school has a graduate coordinator. So if the graduate coordinator will have to come to just in case you are not satisfied with what you have from what the information you have with your social on their site.
Yeah.
So you just like to manage content. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, so you answered it because it depends. It depends on what you want to know. That's what that depends on what the email that you will send.
Exactly. Absolutely. So I don't we don't have more questions. I think we have responded to all the questions for me. If you have more questions before we have 10 more minutes to end the meeting, do you still have questions, please?
Yeah, so let me put the social media handles again so that
Please
you
do.
can follow up. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so
We are active. We are active, and immediately, if we don't respond to you immediately, that does not mean we're not going to respond. You know, at some point, we get busy with work and because of the time differences, we
uh,
might sleep in,
but-
so just put your message in and don't ignore it. If you ask questions that have that relates to something I've already treated there, you just refer it to going to what this video just more details and okay. All right. I don't think any there's more questions. We have more questions. Okay. All right. Somebody's asking. Um, okay. The application process, like you put all the information on the video, everything is there. You recorded the video, you get it by the time you go back to the video. All the information you need, the application process, everything is in the video. Another person has a question, please can you get sample CVs? Well. Well, we can, everything is online. You know, the problem with us, you know, say, is the problem with we Nigerians, or not just Nigerians, but some of us, is that we don't like to do research.
no, so,
Everything,
Justice, just answer the question, all right? If you want the CV, send us a message on our Instagram handle, and then
okay,
we will help you
okay,
with CVs. That's not a big deal.
okay, okay.
Mm.
Okay, and again, it can also help you with statement of purpose. So as long as if you need a statement, if you need statement of purpose and how to write it, I can send you my own, or people can send me. So you have a template of how it works and how you can arrange to apply it to schools here in the US or Canada. Okay. What is the scholarship for Canadian universities this week? Please get the people writing with Canadian
It has nothing to do with your residency or no residency. Applying for scholarship, when it becomes scholarship, you are trying to prove that you deserve that scholarship based on your academic experience, research experience, and teaching experience. So if you make a first class 5.0 and you have not had any research experience, you have not had any form of teaching experience, the person who made less than you but have a balanced CV where he has done a research assistant with a professor and done and taught under a professor will be selected ahead of you. Now, this is the issue with scholarship. If your department is entitled to a scholarship that you are applying to, and they put your name there, and they don't give it to you because you have some things that are missing, that they will lose that scholarship for that year. So department don't want to lose the scholarship opportunity, so they give it to the person who is more qualified. And if you schooled outside of US or Canada, I doubt if you will meet those their criterias. I'm talking based on my own experience. So while you will be applying and waiting, they have already sent the person they feel is more suitable that will make them not miss that slot. That is the issue with scholarship.
I would even advise that other than paying all this information, it is easier to apply to schools in the United States and Canada. And because it's less complicated. As long as you have all your papers ready and you are also, you know, they tell you, I mean, they tell you they're going to give full scholarship or not, and most schools might want to give you full scholarship. So it depends. Canada is different. It's just totally different. I'm just going to look at that. I haven't tried full you know, setting to get to Canada to apply to Canadian universities. We have been so much for the exams there in my work in my former office in Alios Process in Lagos. And people of the exams spent out the money at the end. Then they gave admission, but they didn't get it full score. And they didn't have enough money to set the admission. And I was like, hey, instead of spending this in the house to try to go into the university, he has full scholarship, he has assistantship, he's doing well, he's been even applied for second master, he said, oh, we just have to teach everything out of the master, just so we know the guy between seriously and being absent to the something. The problem was when you look at was trying to pursue export. If you want it, that's good, but if you don't want to, the best way to do it.
Yeah, it boils down to your choice. If that's your choice, that's fine. There's no need to stay. So those who are wondering if you can stay behind, there's what we call OTP, okay, optional training. So after you finish your program, you are entitled to a 1 year OTP. That OTP is as if you have your work permit. You can work with it and remain for 1 year, but you must have something doing within 90 days of having that OTP. So yes, this program is not for that. They do that. We do that seminar. That seminar is done for people who are already students here and who wants to stay behind. So just to cool the mind of those who asked that question.
Okay, in Canada, most times you need to conduct a prospective requirements to apply. Most professors,
Yes, I know what it's talking about.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
in
absolutely.
US, it's not like that. It's not like that. You don't need to secure a professor who will supervise you before coming. No, you don't have it. Even in Canada, you need to write like a proposal for your research. But in US, you don't need a proposal because when you come here, I promise you, you're going to change your mind. You know, I came here wanting to do French syntax, but when I came here, I switched to pragmatics and I'm working on Nigeria Pidgin English, because I saw that pragmatics was thriving. The truth is that in our various countries, we have limited information. Okay, they just teach you only one thing, and that's the only thing you know. But when you come here, you're going to take classes and you're going to see different interesting areas that will interest you, and your research will likely change. So because of that, they don't bother that you must have a professor or have a proposal. No, just tell us what you have done before, and when you get the certificate, what are you chasing? What's your future? What do you want to do with it? So that's all they need here. But in Canada, I think they need that. They ask you to write a proposal and then get a professor who will agree to supervise you. But here it's not like that. Yeah. Is there any other question?
No other question. So the, I think you can stop sharing.
Okay.
I'm seeing something here. Let me see. Again, you can always request for template of CVs and SOPs,
Okay.
statement of progress in our social media handles. We'll be glad to send you some of the templates so you can track it. I'll be glad to send you one. Of course, my colleague would also be very glad to send you the template. I think that's a question.
Okay. Somebody is asking for the video of the meeting. All right. So you'll
Yeah.
get it on our YouTube channel. Then you saw that the Perfect Scholar is a page. I'm not going to put all the video in that page on Facebook. I'm going to cut all the segments, the different segments that we had, and put it so that it will not be too large. So the first place to get it will be in the YouTube channel. I will premiere it live maybe by Monday, and then you can get the specific topics that we treated in the Facebook page, the Private Scholar. So those are the places where you can get the video. As from hopefully next week Monday, that should be ready. So in case you missed this is the um, handles. It's the YouTube channels, the what do you call this one now? Instagram, and then the Facebook page. So it's a page, it's not the main account. I'm already having issues with with Facebook with my main account because they said there was too much activity on it and they blocked me. I don't know what their problem is anyway. Okay, there you go. Any other thing?
Okay, no more questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. The whole essence of doing this today is to ensure that everybody has the tools necessary to apply to school. We are happy doing this again. We don't have to pay us for any of this. Other people pay in other groups. We don't want it to pay. Just want to ensure that you all have opportunities and every international student can attend. Thank you so much. And
So
the prize for now.
so
Okay.
so when the video is ready, uh I will send it to the YouTube. What am I saying? The WhatsApp. Send the link to the WhatsApp group, and then if you need it, I will. You can also let me know on on our handle, and I'll also send you the link there. But if you can search it out yourself, you can also search it out based on the information that we put on the screen. Okay, if you want the slides to, yes, that can also be done. We can send the slides to, no problem about that.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So any of the if you are not in the WhatsApp group and you need it, you just reach us at the various social media handles, and then uh, we'll give it to you. The problem with the WhatsApp told me the WhatsApp group is already full, so just follow us on our Instagram handle, and we can send it to you there. I hope that answers your question. Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much. We are excited that you are here.
of course, of course.
Today. Please feel free to ask us questions on social media. Those of you in the WhatsApp group, thank you for joining. And
Uh,
always,
Favor is still asking for our Instagram handle. The Instagram handle is right here.
please share again, share again.
It's right here. Okay, so that's it. Yes, that's a good idea. So we might make it something we do quarterly, maybe. You know, we might make it a quarterly thing so that
Yeah,
yeah,
we
and
also would love to keep in touch with all of you are planning because another thing we want to do is not just to give you information, we want to know how far you're progressing.
yes.
I know of this progressing who is currently person spoke to me on this program about applying. January, as I'm talking to you, the person already got his transcript ready and he is writing the exams as soon as possible. So we want to keep track of your progress and see how we can help. And I tell you, really get to know us. I tell you, life will be helpful. If you are not coming to our schools, we're able to connect you to people probably will know in that state that will be able to help you. So it doesn't just stop in you get admission. We just want to make sure that we follow you until we get there. And another thing that we can also do to help ease your study here in abroad, I would love to do that.
Can people do it before any application session? You don't need DevDar for French. No, You don't need DevDAF for French. All you need is your BSc. Once you have your BSc, you don't need DevDAF for French. You can come do it. Uh, can people do it before any? I don't understand what you mean by it. What's it? Can people do what before application session? Okay, you don't need DevDAF. Just apply. America is not a French-speaking country, so they don't really ask you for DevDAF. They ask you for English.
Real quick, please, let me say this. Please, do not regard all this, there's this information going around that will tell you, well, America is an English-speaking country, so why are you coming to America to do PhD, right? Or be that French? And I tell you, the same curriculum, the same way you learn, you're making to have that prevention, you know, improving and all that. So, no, you don't have to go to France to have a PhD, you have in France and in French, right? So, we have both professors, French professors in France, and all of that. So, you don't want to waste the opportunity of trying to go to France to go to right?
Just the way you learned the French in your country, so the same way you learn it here. And they have study abroad opportunities for you to go to France or Canada or any other country you want to go. I know of somebody who came to do German. Her German was not very good, so they asked her to go to Germany for 3 months and brush up her. Is it 3 or 6 months to brush up her German? So that's not an issue. Do you need SAT for and GRE for French? Actually, you need GRE for admission into the school. It's like writing JAM. You can't say because you want to study French, you won't do JAM. Okay, so GRE and SAT are admission requirements. It has nothing to do with French. So yes, you need it for the admission. When you say list academic application qualification, what do you mean? Depends on what you want to study. If you want to come for the graduate, you need O level. If you want to do a master's, you need your undergraduate. If you want to do PhD, you need your undergraduate and your master's. So those are the qualifications. And even with your undergraduate, it's possible to do a PhD, but mostly when you are coming from outside the country, that's difficult. But if you did your undergraduate here in the United States, it's very easy for you to move from undergraduate straight to PhD if you did very well.
Real quick, somebody asked you, will you guide us through GRE, it's much like GRE is both the combination of math and English. So basically, you can register with the companies that are offering, you know, registering for exams, and they'll put you through the books you need to read. Just need to get a good setup that will put you through. You cannot have, you just what people write your material. Yeah. There's also asking if IELTS replace that IELTS replace GRE. No, IELTS cannot replace GRE. IELTS can only replace TOEFL. But this IELTS has to be academics. So you know we have IELTS academics and the other one. So you have to be academic that can replace TOEFL. It cannot replace GRE. And for SAP, if you apply, I think under arts, you don't need SAP. Okay? Alright, so again, question.
Jane, Jane, yes, it's a possibility. We can even see how we can be doing it, doing the webinars maybe every 2 or 3 months. However, these resources are still available online for you to refresh your memory over and over again. So yes, it's a possibility. We'll look into that to see how we can do more of this subsequently and before admission. That I've already said it before, admission starts around October. So this is a very good time to do a thing like this. So you start preparing yourself against October and then start looking for the schools you want to apply to, start gathering your materials and thinking about applying for your transcript. So yes.
So Peter is saying I was thinking about some schools and the sections request for preference just the two schools about Peter, every school has different requirements.
Yeah, we said that before.
Yes, we said that before. But right now, schools are making that because of the pandemic. So this is a very good opportunity for you to apply between now and next year. Second question.
Yeah, we answered this before, Gole. Yes, they will tell you first between first and second class. But if you have a third class, you can still apply. If they need you, they will still give you admission. I have seen people who have less than 2-1, who have third class, who are studying here right now. So it's not a limitation.
I want us to quickly respond to this question. We are running out of time. We have other things to do.
Yeah, most of these things we have answered them before.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody can ask me, can you give us the list of the schools for right? Well, we have a WhatsApp group. There's a WhatsApp group for you. When you get into the WhatsApp group, you can send us messages on social media handles. We'll be glad to provide all the links, some of the links of the schools that you can apply. And secondly, somebody's asking, doing a FP, FQ and doing an MSc, which is better for one, which is better for one applicant for postgraduate job? Well, Jimo,
Well, are you asking better for postgraduate job or admission? Because this wasn't a job, this thing is admission. Okay, so now what I can, in relation to the webinar, right here, it is in Nigeria we have a lot of names for degrees, MPhil, masters, MA, this, that. Here, anything above your undergraduate is seen as a graduate, whatever, you know. So, like I said before, somebody have an HND and he was given a master's admission with no condition. So to them, polytechnic and all those things that we separate in our countries, they are seen as post-secondary education here, and they are given the same regard. So whether you have MPhil, MSc, MA, some schools we call it advanced diploma, you know, they are regarded here as a master's. You can use them to apply for whatever you want to apply for. It's only our system over there that seem to discriminate between degrees. Once it is above secondary level, it's called post-secondary. Okay, so once you have your post-secondary or your whatever, you can use it to apply. I hope that answers your question. All right, so I think we should call it a day.
okay.
So
Thank you so
thank you all for coming on board. Keep in touch for follow-up information. All right, so.